Good afternoon, it's Dave at ATI Watch Reviews. Please hit that like button and please smash that subscribe button for more awesome watch content. Little wristwatch check. I've got my AD 2064. Very nice, unusual S homage with numerals at the 6 and 9, Cyclops date window, NH35A, 200 meter water resist, dive watch. We all know what it's homaging, so I won't even bother mentioning it. Very nice, comfortable watch, an all-rounder with some Fotina on the dial. But today's video is a watch that I am really glad I picked up, because I'll cut to the chase. This is quite a special little watch. And this is now in easily my top 10 AliExpress watches of all time. And I've been collecting them on this channel for around 4 years. And I started a little bit before then. Obviously, I'd been collecting G-Shocks for years, but I'd started collecting the AliExpress stuff about 5 years ago. And this may even tempt me into smaller watches. This is the AD 2063. It's a 38mm watch, 38 millimeters. Domed sapphire crystal, quite significantly domed there. This has a quartz GMT movement, a quartz ronda, with the blue GMT hand, if you can just see it there. A beautiful beige dial, an absolutely beautiful off-white that has to be seen to appreciated, that works so nicely with the stainless steel and the blue, on the dial and the indices. Fully solid tapering bracelet with milled clasp and a whopping 5 micro adjusts. Signed, screw down crown that's also signed, and it's only pretty slim, and I think about 12 and a bit mil thick. But with the watches that have a domed crystal, because the dome obviously increases the height of the watch, the thickness doesn't actually feel that thick. So it's light, and it's by no means a bulky watch. If you know which watch this is homaging, I'll give you a clue. It's a Japanese watch brand beginning with S. I'm not going to name them here. Japanese watch brand beginning with S, and they do a watch that this is homaging, but they've crucially made one significant difference on this homage. Put it in the comments below if you know what it is. Let's start with the sizing then. So the bezel diameter is 37.9, so practically true to size basically, as a 38mm watch. Overall diameter, including crown, is a straight 42mm, so very wearable. 45.9, so call it 46mm lug to lug, extremely well proportioned. And because it has female end links, 46mm end link to end link, with a thickness of only 12.7mm to the top of the dome. But if you check this out, the dome is taking up at least 1 to 2 millimeters at least. So that means that it will not feel like a 13mm watch. It will feel more like an 11mm thick watch. So sizing is very good. Now, it is only a 38mm thick watch, but I think it fits a smidge bigger. I think it fits more like a 38.5mm. Not quite a 30, or maybe borderline a 39mm. So what I'm saying is, if you've got a big wrist like me, or 7 inch and above, okay, You might think, well, I'm never going to wear a 37mm, 38mm, 39mm watch, and that's what I do believe. I never think I'm going to wear them watches, but because this watch is, in my opinion, it has the appearance of a dress watch. It feels very much like a dress watch. I think the size works with it. Okay, everything looks delicate and precise and very sleek and modern, that it looks like a dress watch essentially. And I would wear this like a dress watch essentially. Even though it's a GMT tool watch, you could argue, because it's got the 200 meter water resist, it's got GMT functionality with a GMT bezel. I believe this is really a dress watch essentially. It could be worn as such because of the way the white, or the beige goes with the stainless steel. And even the hands all play into this dress watch style. So don't be put off by the small size. Now, I think they should do a 41mm version of the watch anyway, as well, or a 42mm, to give us the option for people who truly don't want the smaller size. But the size is very wearable, and I'm going to put it on my wrist at the end to show you what it's like. And the weight is a very comfortable 132 grams. So you can easily wear this all day long. It is super comfortable. It is nice and light. It's not too light. It's got 130 grams. It's not, titanium. It's not super light. It is fully solid stainless steel, so you get a bit of weight with it. But it's super, super comfortable as an all-day wear. That is a very good point. Let's talk about the dial and crystal. Well, the crystal, I'm glad they have put, it's a significant dome there, as you can see, which improves its water resistance, improves the hermetic seal, which is probably why they've gone with it. But the other thing is, it's sapphire, so you've got the scratch resistance, but it's also got an AR coating, I believe, on the bottom. And this watch absolutely needs it, because we don't want to have the big domed reflections that you sometimes get. Because it really does ruin the watch for me on some of these domed watches when they don't put enough anti-glare coating on it. Now, obviously, over years and years, I believe the AR coating underneath would eventually go off. So you could argue that, look, some people don't want it like that. But I would much rather have the watch with the AR coating on if you have to get it serviced in the future. I would much rather have the AR coating now and have it peel off in the future if it was going to do that, than not have it, because I don't like too many reflections. So the crystal is good. The AR coating is very good. As you can see, it's not showing too many reflections as we're just looking at it now. The presentation on this thing and the dial is the big thing about it. Now, the off-white goes perfectly, absolutely perfectly with the stainless steel, basically. And the silver indices on the dial, it's just absolutely beautiful. With that blue, as you can see now, that blue GMT hand in that kind of electric blue, light electric blue. It's beautiful. And so for presentation, it's a straight 9 out of 10. The dial is, the only thing that I will say is that obviously the ADDIESDIVE logo does not necessarily hand itself well to dressy watches, but because on this dial they've put it pretty small, it's not that big, it doesn't really detract too much from the dressy feel. Everything's in proportion. I like the additional kind of indices on the kind of hidden sub dial, if you will, that's on the inside there. I pretty like that. I think it works pretty nicely. Personally, I probably would have preferred 200 meter as well on underneath the GMT, just to emphasize that it does have 200 meter water resist, but they have put it on the back of the case. The alignment is good. Yeah, the alignment looks pretty good. No real qualms there. I'm just looking at that sub ring again where they've put the, I know you can't see the ring, but you get what I'm saying. I'm just trying to see if they do match up. But it looks not bad, the alignment. The bezel is obviously completely fixed. It's a stainless steel bezel. Now, they have polished the beveled edge. The chamfered edge is polished, which adds an additional dimension to the appearance of the bezel. I like that. Obviously, it's stainless steel. You are going to scratch this thing, but one thing I will say is that because the crystal is domed, you know, if you're going to bang into something, it probably will hit the dome before it hits the bezel, depending obviously on what you hit, but very nice bezel. Lovely chamfered edge there. So appearance and dial is excellent, and the crown is signed, as you can see, and it is screw down. Not as certain as the other ADDIESDIVE watch I had on recently, but not bad. It's not gritty. As you can see there with the case, the lugs are nicely rounded off. Everything is smooth. The polishing and finishing looks good. They've not left anything to scratch on your wrist, which is excellent, because I hate that when that happens. I've had it on some San Martins where the case edge hurts my wrist. But this, everything is polished off and rounded off. Moving on to the case back. Pretty standard stainless steel. We're not getting an exhibition window, which would have been nice, but pretty plain case back really. Nothing to write home about. It does have the 200 meter water resist on. Does it have the product code, the reference? No, it doesn't. Stainless steel Deep Sea Hunter Sport, which is interesting. They are marketing it as a sports watch, but I think it's just the way that they've done the dial on this. It just looks very dressy to me. Now then, let's go on to the bracelet. Bracelet is obviously a standard 3-link with a signed clasp. Nice bit of polishing on the clasp. And as you can see, the clasp does have some fairly thick swing arms. Clasp is nice. No safety catch, just push buttons. Engagement is okay. Little bit of catch in there, just a tiny bit. And the taper is 20mm to 16mm. So it is a heavily tapered bracelet, which I think adds to the delicacy, if you will. Even though it's not a delicate watch, but it adds to the kind of dressiness of the watch, in my opinion. It won't be to everyone's taste. Some people, possibly even me, would prefer it to be 20 to 18, but that wouldn't look as good, in my opinion. So they have gone with the 16mm at the clasp taper, and let's get it on the wrist to show you. Now, one good thing about this bracelet, and I was worried about, is because I've got 7 1/4, nearly 7.5 inch wrist, I was worried that I wouldn't have enough links because it's such a small watch. I was worried that I'd have to buy another link off ADDIESDIVE, but it does cover me just. I've basically only moved it. I've moved it from 1 to 4, but they do have. It's just pins. On the bracelet, the links are connected by pins, and they do have the arrows, so you know which way to take out. Honestly, going with pins is so much simpler. Putting screws on these watches, you sometimes get where they've put too much Loctite on, they're busted, they won't come out, the thread's damaged. I've had loads of problems with Pagani and other screw link watches that I now just prefer on the cheaper ones, probably just a pin. So the bracelet is good, extremely comfortable, nice simple little clasp, a little bit of disengagement issue, tiny bit, but nothing to write home about. That might improve with time. Let's check the loom if it has any. And as you can see, there is absolutely no loom. So yeah, the watch doesn't have any loom. It's not that type of watch. They've not added any onto the watch, so there is nothing there in the loom category. And as you can see, I think that looks bigger than 38mm. I almost think that looks appropriate for my wrist. It doesn't look too small, and that's because of the size of the case and the kind of the bezel, and the reho feels big on this watch for some reason. The vertical sides there feels pretty big, so all that gives the illusion that the watch is bigger than it really is, which is what I like because I don't like small watches. And the movement is the Swiss 51524H, a quartz. It's not a mecha quartz though, so obviously at this price level I wouldn't have expected a mecha quartz, but I absolutely would have preferred it to have the mecha quartz because I love seeing the sweep in seconds hand. They do have available, not off ADDIESDIVE, but they do have some GMT mecha quartz out there. I'm not sure what the price they could do them for if they've started to add them to these cheaper AliExpress watches. I don't know what it would do to the price, but I would pay a little bit more if it gives us the mecha quartz functionality. And that quartz GMT movement, the 515, I think it's going to be accurate to about 20 seconds, but you will probably get better than that per month, probably more like 10 seconds as a guess. So where do I rate this thing overall? Well, there's a lot going for this watch. The presentation and looks are fabulous. The sizing is small, but not too small. It's got the quartz accuracy with the GMT functionality. It's all stainless steel, so you can easily swap it out. It's got 20mm lug width. You can either swap it out for a leather strap if you want to go down that route, or a rubber band. I think it does work perfect on the stainless, so I definitely won't be swapping it out. The domed crystal is very nice, and the AR coating is super legible, so you can see through. It's very, very nicely legible. And it's got the 200-meter water resist. In terms of how long the battery would last in here, I would guess at least 3 years. I would guess. I've not had any official specs on that, but I'm going to guess it's at least 3 years. So, you know, what does it cost these days to swap the battery? It's nothing, is it? So, it's got a lot of things going for it. For me, the main one is the presentation. I just really like this thing. Do you know which watch this is homaging? If you do, put it in the comments down below. It's a big Japanese watch brand that it's homaging. And what have they done differently? What has ADDIESDIVE done differently to make it different to that watch? Because it has done something crucially different. And I'm giving you right now a massive clue. It's done something very different. But anyway, overall, it's at least an 8. The watch is easily an 8. The finishing is good. The stainless steel has a really nice luster. What could ADDIESDIVE do to improve it? As I've said, they can give us a mecha quartz movement, the mecha GMT quartz, for the sweeping seconds hand, for those that like that, like me. They could also give us, if they're going to go down the diving route, then they can give us, on the clasp, a dive extension. But is it really necessary on this GMT watch? I don't think it is, not on a GMT watch. But they're for some reason calling it a deep hunter. In terms of the price and value, I think this is listed at around the £80 odd mark. For what you're getting with this watch overall, it is worth it. It absolutely is. Compared to the stuff you get at this price point off non-Chinese watch manufacturers, you know, what you get off the big brands, this has way better quality for the money. Way better bang for buck on the spec for the money than what you get for 80 odd quid or 100 quid with tax or whatever it is. But there's deals on all the time, so you can probably get it closer to like £90 with VAT in England, probably, with the various deals that AliExpress do. So I hope you've liked this little review. It's been Dave. Have a great day.